Howdy. I don't really have much of a plan for this video. I thought, seeing as I've got this afternoon off, I might just try and just do a little explanation about what my setup is in Tassie, and sort of what the regulations and everything are like for people trying to live in tiny homes in Tasmania. I'll specifically be talking about sort of like the north of the island, because the crazy thing is with it, like every council is so different with what they're allowing and what you can do. So this is just me talking about my experience. So like I know everyone's got completely varied experiences in this space. So I'll just talk through mine, and this isn't me saying like if you try and go through the same thing, this is what will happen to you, because to be honest, like I feel like in this space everyone is going to have a different experience, because it is pretty unorganized at the moment. It's not to say like I met with some of the people from the council, and it's not like, it's honestly not their fault. The legislation is just weird, and like the way the CBOS regulations are written, it's so open to interpretation that I'm not surprised that everyone's having different experiences with it. So anyway, that's a massive ramble to start, but for me, the journey started with God, it sounds so wacky. For me, it kind of started with I decided I wanted a tiny house because I'd had the block for a while. Because of some personal circumstances, I couldn't build a full-size house that I'd originally planned to do. I might go into that more later. It's quite a sad story, so I don't really want to make it about that. But I always wanted to have something on the block. I love my block. I'll give you a look. I'm sitting in that tiny house now. This is like, I'm so like this off the deck. It's pretty amazing. Just incredibly lucky to get in at the right time, and we really didn't pay that much for this place. But anyway, I got distracted again. So I had the idea, why not put a tiny house on the block, much shorter turnaround. I was living in Western Australia at the time, so I wasn't even in Tassie, but I really wanted somewhere that I could come and stay when I was back in Tassie, because all my family live here. And as much as it's nice coming to stay with parents or family, it's just so much better when you've got your own space to escape to. I started looking into different companies. I found this amazing little local company that were based like within a 10-minute drive of where my block is. So it really couldn't have been more perfect. I'd looked at so many different companies, and these guys were one of the few that like they let you design the whole thing yourself. And then it pretty much worked like I'd have the ideas of what I wanted, and because I'm hopeless in that space, they made it work. Like I'd like send my idea, they'd send back a sketch of like how that idea might look or how it might work, and it just sort of went from there. So anyway, a lot of back and forth, getting the tiny house kind of planned. I'd hadn't paid any money to this point, so I reached out to the council, my local council, and just said, look, this is what I want to do. What do I need to do to go about things the right way here? Like, I don't want to do, like, it's in a pretty obvious space. Like, it's on top of a hill. Like it's pretty visible, even though it's like it's near the bush, but it's still like a lot of people are going to be driving past it. So it's not like I'm hiding. I contacted them, said, look, what do I need to do? This is what it's going to be. This is my thoughts. And they got back to me and just said, hey, sounds great. Like, no worries. It's on a trailer. So, it's classified as a caravan. Therefore, like the regulations are really minimal. As long as you got somewhere for your grey water to go. And so like at the time it was what I was proposing was a composting toilet, which they were like, yep, no worries, cool, sounds good. Contact a surveyor, see what they say. about your grey water. So I did that. The surveyor was like, look, for that size house, if it's just grey water and no sewage, all you will need is like this trench. And they sent me the details of like how long it would need to be, what needed to be in it to filter it. And then it said, like, if you want to be super careful, put like a grease trap or something on it to catch anything else. And yeah, you'd be good to go. So I let the council know and they're like, yeah, sweet, no worries. So yeah, I, spend all my savings, a lot of my savings, because tiny houses, like, I think a bit of a misconception is they're a cheap option. Like they're cheaper than building a big house, sure, but like by the end of it, I mean, you'd be very lucky to get something decent for under 150k. And I wanted, like, if I was going to go small, I wanted good fittings. I wanted, like, it to be exactly what I wanted. So, it was a decent investment for me. I mean, yeah. So, God, this can be a long story, but anyway, hopefully if anyone sees this, they're not bored already. So yeah, I got that tiny house finished. The people I work with are amazing. Like there was no hiccups. It was finished so quickly. I think it was like 4 months maybe. And I came back to Tassie to be there when it got delivered to the block. That went off without a hitch. Contacted the plumber who was going to do the trench for me for the grey water, and got a phone call from the plumber maybe a week later that when it was pretty close to it about to happen, and council said, no, what are you doing? You can't do this. You can't dig ground. You can't have your trench. And I was like, oh, like, you guys said this is what I needed to do to have a tiny house on this block. And they were like, oh, no, I think with regulations, if you break the ground, like, you're going to need a sewage system, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I don't have any sewage. Like, I have a composting toilet. And I mean, I'm going to condense this story a little bit because honestly, it was back and forth for ages. So I said, okay, cool. Look, what do you want me to do? They were like, contact a surveyor. So I was like, okay, contact a surveyor. They said, well, what we've designed originally was fine. Like, what's their issue? I said, they don't want me using a trench. They think I need a sewage system. So we looked into that, but then the soil type, they were like, oh, look, even though they've approved other houses up here for it, like a sewage system. For some reason, you couldn't have a septic tank in the ground. So I was like, okay, well, that was going to cost like, 10, 15 grand. And then we finally got this back and forth. We were like, well, we're happy for you to have an AWTS system, which is like an aeration water treatment system for it's meant to be for sewage. Like, so think about the thing that they proposed would be fine in my area for like a 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom house with toilets. My place has no toilets. Like, it has a toilet, but it's contained. Like, there's no waste. So I was like, oh, fine. Look, if this is what's going to get it done, I'll spend the money. And it was going to be like 20 to 30 grand, I think, for this aeration or AWTS system. And then they have to service it like 3 times a year, all this stuff. Like, it's a massive hassle. And then, so then, like, out of nowhere, they were just like, oh, no, but then, then you're connected to the ground. With the new changes to whatever, you can't be connected to the ground anywhere. Then you're not, because therefore you're not a caravan and blah, blah, blah. And so I was like, right, well, what are we going to do here? So, like, mind you, this was over, because I was still living in WA. So this was over like a couple of years of just back and forth of me paying to get designs done, resubmitting, them saying no, then them telling me what they want me to do. I do it, no, again. So in the long run, like, it's worked out, but it pretty much took common sense and then a plumber being willing at the council to sign off on it, because he knew it was like, well, this guy's not doing anything wrong. Like, he's literally got no waste whatsoever. So yeah, what happened in the long run is, like, I have these storage tanks that sit under the tiny house that aren't in the ground, so therefore I'm not in the ground, and they collect the grey water, and then I pump them into these big containers, and I just take them to a waste deposit station, which is nearby. So it's not a huge hassle. I think for some people, it might be too much of a hassle and they wouldn't do it. But for me, it was like, if this lets me live in my tiny house, I love this space. I don't live in it full time. I'm down south of the island. A lot of the time I'm only here 2 or 3 days a week, really. Sometimes not at all. I'll just do what they say. And so luckily they're really nice. Like, I knew it wasn't their fault. It was just the way the regulations were written. It's so tricky to get anything signed off. So they came up to the block and we had a conversation. I showed them what I was doing. I showed them how it was all set up. And they said, look, cool. You're not here all the time anyway. You've got absolutely no sewage, and your grey water is getting stored. So like, you couldn't be doing any more. We'll sign off on it. They sent me an email. And so, yeah, finally I'm all good to go. Like, to be honest, I did think about doing some videos, and because I enjoy so many different like YouTubers that, like this one called Jay, and he has a cabin in northern Canada, and it's amazing. It's all these sort of things. So I love watching people who live in alternate spaces. So I was always kind of keen to have my own go at, like, my videos are so average. Like, I'm not going to do any of the editing he does, and I don't have any of the equipment. It's just me rambling about my experience. Anyway, that's another sidetrack. I do that. But yeah, I'm going to try and film some videos of this space now that it's all good and approved. And yeah, we'll go from here. If anyone sees this and they have any recommendations of or requests of what they'd like to see, let me know. I'll probably do a few of just like the block. I love doing bushwalks, so I'll keep doing some more of those videos. And I might even just do some little videos of me cooking in the tiny house, like anything that's just, I want these videos to be relaxing. It's kind of the point, because that's what I watch before I go to sleep. And yeah, I want this to kind of be my version of that. Anyway, if anyone's watched this, thank you so much. If you made it to the end, that's amazing. I wouldn't be able to listen to me talk for that long, so you've done very well. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Bye. Okay, so I thought I'd do a quick tour of the tiny house. He's on the deck. Just go through. As you can see, sort of as you just walk in. So it's nearly dark, so lighting's not amazing. The front door. So dark, I'm gonna have to do another tour where it's not so dark. Here's the first loft. It's kind of an office space. And looking down into the kitchen. Excuse my cracking ankles. Old man. Bedroom. So yeah, it's all pretty straightforward, really. Yeah, nice and cozy, really small. I'll give you a look. And then, yeah, this side's kind of all just like storage. Yeah, I'll see if I can go. I'll go back into the bathroom because I feel like that was so dark. I'll see if I can turn these lights on. Yeah. Shower. But yeah, that's it. Cool. I'll see you next video. Bye.